that never stops reaching for the next miracle. Thank you, Mr.
That's
President.
great. Thank you, Lynn. It's great to be with you again. Chris, could you say a few words, please?
Thanks, Mr. President. It's not lost on me that this year is America 250, and it's powerful, I think, to pause and remember that 250 years ago, a revolutionary free republic was born, and with it, the greatest innovation engine in the history of humanity. And we stand here today, 250 years later, getting to witness yet another groundbreaking innovation that doesn't just treat but cures deafness in children. And because of this president and his policies around most favored nation, will enable families who are struggling and suffering with this affliction to have access to that groundbreaking therapy for free. Now, as the president mentioned, we've negotiated the 17th of 17 agreements. This represents 86% of the branded pharmaceutical drug market in the United States. But anyone who knows us knows that we're not done. That's a milestone, it's not the finish line. And so we have three core objectives that are next up. Number one, and this is already underway, we are negotiating with the many hundreds of biotechnology and pharmaceutical companies representing that other 14% that are building the cures for tomorrow. To all those who are listening, I hope that we have proven that we are credible and reliable and trustworthy partners. We want to sit with you. We will listen to you. We will take the time to understand your businesses, not only as we negotiate on behalf of every American family for affordability, but also to ensure that you're best positioned to create the cures for tomorrow. Second, we continue our work on negotiating international trade agreements. 59 days after we stood in this office and President Trump, standing with Albert Bourla from Pfizer, announced the first of the 17 MFN deals, together with our colleagues from the Department of Commerce under Secretary Lutnick's leadership and from the U.S. Trade Representative's office under the leadership of Ambassador Greer, we negotiated a landmark agreement with the government of the United Kingdom in which they agreed to increase significantly the amount that they spend on branded pharmaceuticals for the first time in 26 years. That work continues with other countries. And third, we will continue our work with our partners in Congress to codify the principles that underpin these most favored nation deals so that these savings for American families and this innovation that is unleashed at the same time persists for decades to come. So that the 1 in 3 or 4 families that Dr. Oz mentioned, standing at a pharmaceutical counter or pharmacy counter right now, wrestling with the decision that no family should have to make of whether or not they can pick up their prescription because they can't afford it will no longer be the case. And at the same time, we know that there are roughly 20,000 known diseases in the world, and we have a treatment or a cure for fewer than a quarter of those. And so this president and his policies is not only safeguarding affordability for American families, but is ensuring that we continue to bet on American exceptionalism. We bet on innovation. We bet on the principles that have taken us to this place in 250 years for the next 250 years. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you, Chris. Great job you do. Maybe you want to talk about rescheduling while we're here, and just say what you're doing and the progress that you've made.
Right. Well, Mr. President, today is another promise made, promise kept day. On December 18th, you signed an executive order on increasing medical marijuana and cannabidiol research, and today we delivered on that promise. The Acting Attorney General this morning signed an order that moves into Schedule 3 medical marijuana products that are FDA approved or that are state licensed. This is a giant move forward to implement your promise, and it's actually a campaign promise that you made. You said we're going to move into Schedule 3 to increase the research on these medical products, and just wanted everyone to know that 1, you make promises, you keep them, and 2, what does Schedule 3 mean for state licensed medical marijuana products? We will begin implementation right away of this order. It does not legalize marijuana. It makes it easy for the researchers to actually study and understand medical marijuana, especially in populations that are using it. We know that 1 in 10 seniors right now use medical marijuana in the past year, and they report that it really helps them, but we don't have the science or the understanding to guide the patients and the doctors, and so both patients and doctors are flying blind without knowing how they interact with other medications because the research has been difficult to do. And so your promise today says those state licensed medical marijuana products are now in Schedule 3, and we expect the research to significantly increase so that we can understand how to guide patients and doctors in this effort. And there will be additional actions that will come this summer to do an expedited hearing for the administrative hearing with the Department of Justice for all of marijuana to move into Schedule 3.
And the military is very happy about it, and a lot of people suffering from big problems, which this seems to be the best answer. They're very happy about it. So the rescheduling is starting, and that's a big thing, rescheduling. They kept saying, what about the rescheduling? And so, great job. I appreciate it. I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Howard Kessler. He's one of the most successful men in the world, actually, and he had some medical difficulties, and he came upon this by accident in a way, and he said, "Well, he had to go through a lot of different medications, and he said this was the one that was much better than anything else." And so he experienced it. He didn't benefit by it other than from the standpoint that he lives a much better life now. So hopefully you don't need it, but if you do need it, I hear it's the best of all the alternatives. But I want to thank Howard Kessler and Michelle Kessler. They really pushed this very hard. These are two people, very straight arrows. They're not into marijuana. They're not into anything. But he found this answer, and he said, he's doing it for other people. And so Howard and Michelle probably, they're watching or they'll be hearing about it. But they worked very hard to get this done. And it's an honor, and you've done fantastically. You all have, and I appreciate it. And man who's doing an excellent job is Howard Letnick. He's in a little different sphere. He's not in the medical sphere, but he knows what it all means. And from Commerce, he's the Secretary of Commerce. Howard, would you say a few words, please?
Sure. So in partnership with Bobby Kennedy and Memanaz and the whole team, when they do Most Favored Nation, we also ask the company to reshore and build their drugs here in America, because too many of our drugs, our key drugs for our health, are being made overseas. And in a conflict, we can't rely upon them. And I'm honored to say that our partners from Regeneron have agreed to reshore their production of pharmaceutical drugs, and this is exactly from your pharmaceutical tariffs. That's the point. So that means $448 billion of drug manufacturing is coming to America because of your tariffs, because of your pharmaceutical strategy. And we are proud to invite Regeneron to do this giant build in America, and all the rest of the pharmaceutical companies. They've committed to build in America because of your tariff policy and your strategy.
And because of the tariffs, it's been amazing actually. We have Eli Lilly and Pfizer and all of the companies. We had, I guess, 7 of them here at one time, which was interesting to see, but they actually got along with each other pretty well. They stood right behind me, the biggest companies in the world, and they're all building, Eli Lilly's building, I think, 5 major plants, which without tariffs they would have built none. I said, how many would you build without none?